Friday, July 26, 1996, the offices of Rocket Pictures received a phone call. A male voice, identifying himself only as Victor, claimed to be in possession of a videotaped interview with an extraterrestrial being.
He said he had a tape of a space alien, an ET, that was being held in a military installation in Nevada. I'm not sure as a prisoner or a guest. He had this on tape. I made it very clear to Victor that his credibility was the entire issue here, and that everybody's going to think this is a hoax, and that how are they going to possibly verify this? What he said was, you can do anything you want in terms of verified, any type of due diligence. He will answer whatever questions put forward. He just did not want his face and his real name revealed.
The room is secure, Mr. President.
Or is it?
Sir?
What if the aliens could take over human bodies? They look just like us? Or almost?
I never thought of that, sir. We should be on alert for anything suspicious.
They could be anywhere. Even...
right here. We'd never see the attack coming.
It's happening! I knew it! You'll never take me alive!
What the fuck?
It's true. We're all in danger.
What is your occupation at Area 51?
I won't answer that. I have had reason to be present at Area 51, and I'm not going to clarify whether or not I was there as an employee.
Are you saying you were there as a visitor?
I'm not going to specify why or in what capacity I was there, only that I was there.
Can you tell us how many times you were there?
When I agreed to this, my fundamental ground rule was that I would not be asked to divulge personal data that might help pinpoint my identity. If you continue to ask questions that are out of bounds, I won't hesitate to terminate this interview.
Let's turn to the tape itself. The copy you've supplied is not the original tape.
No.
Was the original at Area 51 when you copied it?
That's out of bounds.
Is it fair to assume that...
You can assume anything you like.
Copying of tapes at Area 51 is heavily restricted?
That's obvious. I will say that this tape was copied under special circumstances. Otherwise, copying it would have been impossible.
Can you be more specific?
More specific? This interview was terminated.
The interview resumed only after a discussion of the ground rules.
Have you personally seen the alien being that appears in the tape?
Yes, I have, but I stress I was not necessarily present at the interview session that appears on the tape. I'm not going to be specific. I may have encountered the being at another time.
What can you tell us about the alien interview we're about to see?
This one is rather recent, or late in the series. The interview process has been ongoing since the being arrived, which was in 1989. Approximately twice a month, they sit it down for a session that generally lasts from 3 to 5 hours. If they try to go longer than that, or if they schedule the sessions more frequently, the being becomes unresponsive.
What has the alien revealed?
Various minor technical details of the saucers. The physicists and engineers are frankly frustrated. They feel the being is withholding information. Possibly concepts are getting lost because all the information has to come through a telepath. But also it may be that the bulk of their scientific knowledge is just too advanced to be translated into our primitive conceptual framework. It's analogous to if a human scientist were to try to translate quantum mechanics into the grunts and screeches of a chimpanzee.
That's not a very flattering comparison.
Frankly, there's a high attrition rate for scientists in the program. You'd think they'd be energized by the challenge. But a lot of them take the ego deflation very hard when they find out not only how much they don't know, but how much they aren't even capable of understanding.
Victor uses the term vessels to refer to the alien's conception of the body as a disposable vehicle for the soul.
Do you think it's a reassuring sign that these aliens can communicate with us on a spiritual plane?
It would be nice to think so, but I'm not sure if it's really such an achievement considering the mismatch between our intellects. I mean, you're not going to have much luck making your dog understand calculus, but if you pet him on the head and say, "Good dog," aren't you communicating spiritually? And doesn't the animal control officer say, "Good dog," when he comes to put some poor stray to sleep? Doesn't the vet try to reassure the animal just before he spays it? When you're dealing with beings whose intellect is so far beyond your own, I don't think it's safe to assume they have your best interests at heart.
Because of his unwillingness to reveal his own identity, Victor's story stands or falls on the credibility of the tape he supplied. Here is the uncut, uninterrupted alien interview tape, shown in its entirety in real time.
You removed the soundtrack from the tape before you turned it over to this program.
That's correct. I can't allow the voices of the project personnel to be heard by the general public. There's a very good chance their family or friends on the outside might recognize them.
Isn't your purpose in releasing this tape to expose Area 51 to the world?
My purpose is to expose the existence of the aliens, not compromise these individuals. I made the decision to come forward. I'm taking precautions to protect my own identity, and I don't think it's fair for me to put these others in danger of exposure. In any case, the interview on the tape went nowhere. It was interrupted, as you'll see.
Video analyst Jim Delatoso was emotionally affected by what he saw. He took the tape very seriously and offered this personal opinion.
If someone faked this, I don't like these people. I think it's a bad thing for people to do, because if extraterrestrials come here, it's an incredibly important thing to understand who they are and why are they coming here. If this is not faked, I think we've got a glimpse here of a sense of communication with someone who came from a long distance away.
UFO expert Robert Dean, on the other hand, had no doubt whatsoever that the tape was authentic.
This is powerful because this is not a staged event. This is real.
Calling on his own first-hand experience for comparison, Robert Dean was stunned and moved by what he saw.
That breaks my heart. You've got yourself a piece of legitimate footage here, and I think you've got your hands on some pretty sensitive material. I don't know how the hell you got this. I don't know who you got it from, and frankly, I don't want to know who you got it from. But you've got yourself a tiger by the tail with this footage. I would say, and I know that that's one of the things you ask of me, is that you've got yourself some legitimate footage of one of the little guys being interrogated and filmed. And there's a reality to it, and there's a sensitivity to it that literally breaks my heart. But I tell you very strongly, you've got something here that is very sensitive. Well, I know that the level of classification on this kind of a thing is so far damned above top secret that you can't imagine how sensitive this kind of thing is, and how delicate it is, and how tightly the government sits on anything like this. Treating him like a piece of livestock, wiping his lips.
Whitley Strieber, best-selling author of Communion, claims to have had numerous personal contacts with alien beings. He has become the de facto spokesman for the growing number of people who claim to have been abducted by extraterrestrials.
I was awakened by a presence. Then I began to see these faces, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on. There was a long, needle. They said they were going to put this into my head, and it scared me to death. Stop it, please, stop it! I had a close encounter the third time, for sake.
The nationally syndicated television program Strange Universe asked Strieber and several other abductees to view the alien interview tape. What Strieber saw left him profoundly shaken. Strieber would not agree to be interviewed on camera for this program, but on Strange Universe, he had this to say. On May 23, 1997, Victor gave a radio interview on the nationally syndicated show Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. Speaking by telephone from an unknown location, Victor answered questions from host Art Bell and his guest, UFO expert Sean Morton.
Let's see if we've got Victor on the line. Victor, are you there?
I'm here.
Welcome to the program, Victor.
Afterwards, this is what Bell and Morton had to say about Victor's credibility.
What a hell of an interview, huh?
Boy, oh boy, talk about making history on the radio. It was, as far as I could tell, he answered every question properly, as far as exactly where the locations are, to the descriptions of the the transports, the 737s, to the CTS-43s, the retinal scans, the 5 levels at S4.
A veteran of countless controversial interviews, Art Bell still found himself impressed by his encounter with Victor.
In the first, I think, half hour, I sensed that I was getting a kind of a runaround, or that I was not satisfied with the quality of the answers that I was being given. But as the interview progressed, and Victor, to some degree, began to relax, I began to get a different sense, and that was that he was telling me the truth. I think Victor was scared. I think Victor really is scared.
If the government has really been in contact with superior aliens, wouldn't we see some evidence of it? For instance, amazing new scientific discoveries.
Limitless free energy? A cure for cancer? We might if the government's motive were the betterment of mankind. The government's motive is control. Knowledge is power, but power does not necessarily confer competence. The people at the top of this, they're not capable of making proper use of what's been handed to them, but they have no intention of letting anyone else ever get a chance to solve the puzzle. And let's not forget there's also the real possibility that the government is being manipulated by the extraterrestrials for their own purposes.
Do you believe your life is in danger as a result of making this tape public?
I would hope not. I would like to think my government is a little more civilized than that. But at the same time, I don't intend to give them the chance to prove me wrong. Obviously, they would like me to be perceived as a hoaxer. If something were to happen to me, if I should die suddenly in a freak accident, it would obviously lend credence to my story, and I assume they understand that and will act or not act accordingly.
Why should anyone believe this tape is authentic?
Use your own judgment. That's all any of us can do. There's been so much secrecy and disinformation over the last 50 years that it's become impossible to prove anything in the face of official denial. Of course, the flip side is nobody really believes anything the government says.
Did this alien die?
I can't answer that with certainty. I do know the interviews came to an end. Whether the being died or was retired, and I don't mean that in the spy thriller sense of having it killed, I mean retired from the interview process. I just don't know. I'm fairly certain it didn't go home, at least not in the physical sense. But these beings, they don't seem to be very concerned about dying or avoiding death.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe they know what comes after death with more confidence than we do. Maybe there's another vessel waiting for them on the other side. I've heard the claims that they come from Zeta Reticula or the Pleiades, but it hasn't been established that they come from out there at all. Their saucers may not travel through space as we know it. They may fold in from another dimension, another reality.
You make them sound almost supernatural, like angels or devils.
Supernatural is just a term for aspects of nature we don't understand. For many people, they certainly do serve the functions of both angels and devils, forces we can't comprehend.
Robert Dean heads a growing movement lobbying Congress to release former NASA intelligence and military officials from their security oaths so they can talk openly about U.S. involvement with UFOs and aliens.
As early as '49, your government knew we were dealing with extraterrestrial intelligence. And then it sort of blew up more and more. Every year there were more discoveries, more conclusions, more contacts. And as you probably know, we have indeed retrieved crashed hardware, and we have reverse engineered it, and we have indeed been flying some of that hardware in this base not too many miles outside of Nellis, near Las Vegas.
Dean believes the time has come for the government to tell the people what it knows.
The truth has got to come out. We're over 30 years too late. The people not only have a right to know, they have a need to know. And damn it, I stand in this belief, and I will say this and stand by this till the day I die. Congress has the responsibility, Congress has the obligation to the people, to the Constitution, and to the nation.
WTF. What the fuck does WTF mean? What the fuck? Oh.
What the fuck?
On Friday, July 26, 1996, the offices of Rocket Pictures received a phone call. A male voice, identifying himself only as Victor, claimed to be in possession of a videotaped interview with an extraterrestrial being.
He said he had a tape of a space alien, an ET, that was being held in a military installation in Nevada. I'm not sure as a prisoner or a guest. And he had this on tape. I made it very clear to Victor that his credibility was the entire issue here, and that everybody's going to think this is a hoax, and that how are they going to possibly verify this? What he said was, you can do anything you want in terms of verified, any type of due diligence. He will answer whatever questions put forward. He just did not want his face and his real name revealed.
The room is secure, Mr. President.
Or is it?
Sir?
What if the aliens could take over human bodies? They look just like us, or almost.
And I never thought of that, sir. We should be on alert for anything suspicious.
They could be anywhere, even
right here. We'd never see the attack coming.
It's happening! I knew it! You'll never take me alive!
What the whoa? What the fuck?
It's true. We're all in danger.
What is your occupation at Area 51?
I won't answer that. I have had reason to be present at Area 51, but I'm not going to clarify whether or not I was there as an employee.